CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News. You are watching 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 CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
Good evening. I'm Samia Charles, reporting to you live from Civil Rights Daily News, where we provide you with propagandaless reporting and reporting only the truth in rotation, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here's tonight's stories. In Venezuela, a U.S. military operation has dramatically altered the country's political future, raising urgent concerns about international law, oil control, and America's role in reshaping governments abroad. And in addition, we'll also take a look at the rising tensions at sea after the U.S. seized multiple oil tankers tied to Venezuela, including one that critics are saying represents a dangerous precedent in modern maritime law. In our next segment, we'll also go into Minneapolis, where a fatal shooting from an ICE agent has sparked a massive nationwide protest across the country. It has also fueled broader debate over federal enforcement tactics, accountability, and community resistance. In addition, we'll also go into education news, where a growing number of a growing number of states and school districts are restricting cell phone use in classrooms. And this is a move that some supporters are saying may improve learning, but critics are also warning could raise safety and equity concerns. We'll also go into public health, where public health officials are also sounding the alarm as flu cases continue to intensify nationwide, with hospitals and schools feeling the strain during what the CDC calls a moderately severe flu season. More details on that in just a bit. And in New York City, in local politics, New York City has finally appointed a new city council speaker, and we'll break down who Julie Menon is, why the role matters, and what this may mean for the leadership of the city for the next mayoral term. We'll also take a look at the economic landscape of 2026, where optimism on Wall Street is colliding with uncertainty on Main Street as Americans head into 2026 amid mixed economic signals. And finally, a major shift in entertainment as the Hulu app is finally being phased out, signaling yet another step in the consolidation of the streaming industry and changing how millions of Americans will watch their favorite shows. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles, and we'll get into these topics after these brief messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
In early January of 2026, the United States launched a highly controversial military operation in Venezuela, resulting in the capture of President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores. This raid was carried out in Caracas by U.S. forces without public congressional authorization. Maduro was also transported to the United States to face federal charges tied to narcotics and conspiracy allegations. The mission, declared as Operation Absolute Resolve, followed months after covert preparations and has sparked immediate debate over international law and the use of executive power abroad. The Venezuelan government reported that at least 56 security personnel, including a Venezuelan and allied Cuban forces, were killed during the operation, along with several U.S. service members who were severely injured, according to reports. Venezuela's interim leader, Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, has condemned the action as illegitimate and as an act of war. Just days after the raid, the United States expanded its maritime enforcement to include the seizure of multiple oil tankers linked to Venezuela's sanctioned oil fleet, also known as the Shadow Fleet. In a global operation spanning the Atlantic and Caribbean Sea, U.S. forces seized a Russian-flagged tanker, formerly known as the Bella 1, also now being called the Marinera, which was seized near Iceland. And this was a move that was denounced by Russian officials as piracy and a breach of international norms. U.S. officials say that these seizures are part of an effort to enforce sanctions and disrupt illicit oil transportation tied to Venezuela's oil sector. These actions, however, have now resulted in at least 5 different tanker interdictions, including another vessel that was known as the Olina in the Caribbean. The scale and geographical reach of these operations has significantly raised geopolitical stakes. Russia and other partners have condemned the U.S. approach, and analysts are warning that these actions could potentially strain international relationships and violate established maritime law principles. In a related development, the Venezuelan government has signaled a potential willingness to resume diplomatic relations with the U.S., sending delegations to discuss rebuilding formal ties and even exploring resuming embassy operations. Washington has confirmed logistical assessments towards that goal, and we'll update you on their assessment as they come. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be right back after these messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
In the United States, public health officials are sounding the alarm as the 2025 and 2026 U.S. influenza season continues to intensify. The Center of Disease Control and Prevention has classified the season as moderately severe, with an estimated 11 million illnesses, 120,000 hospitalizations, and more than 5,000 reported deaths. Officials note that the flu activity remains high across most of the country and has been fueled by dominant H3N2 strains that have particularly been proven to be contagious and severe. But despite these slight declines in some regions, health authorities say that the season is not yet over. In New York City alone, more than 128,000 laboratory-confirmed flu cases have been recorded, and including the highest weekly case count in over a decade. Young people under 18 account for more than half of these infections, highlighting the continued vulnerability of school-aged populations. With respiratory illnesses circulating at elevated levels and vaccination coverage rather lagging, health officials are urging residents to take basic preventative measures, including staying home when sick, practicing good hygiene measures, and consulting with their healthcare providers about any vaccinations and antiviral treatments. This surge comes amid changes to federal vaccine recommendations, which have reduced universal guidance for certain vaccines, including the influenza, and has also created a spark of criticism from public health experts that have strongly criticized this as a potentially harmful cause in the midst of a severe season. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be right back to these topics after these messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News. You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
Tonight, we turn to a story that has rapidly become one of the most controversial and politically charged domestic developments of this year. On January 7, 2026, a 37-year-old Minneapolis woman by the name of Renee Nicole Good was shot and killed fatally by an ICE agent during a large federal immigration enforcement operation in South Minneapolis. Federal officials, including Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, publicly defended these shootings as an act of self-defense and also claimed that Good attempted to drive her agents over. Noem also went further, describing her actions as a domestic terrorist act and insisted that ICE's presence and enforcement operations will continue uninterrupted. But eyewitness accounts, video footage, and statements from city and state officials are sharply contradicting the federal narrative. Local reporting, in fact, and independent video show Good's car beginning to move just as officials approached, with no clear indication of her vehicle striking the agent. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey have rejected the Trump administration's version of events and deemed it as inaccurate and misleading, saying that both of them saying that they are calling for accountability and transparency from the Trump administration. Mayor Frey, in particular, has forcefully demanded that ICE leave Minneapolis. He also said that in a press briefing that the agency's account did not align with what he saw in the video footage, and that Minneapolis has serious concerns about federal handling of the operation. The federal investigation itself has also become a major point of dispute. The FBI's sole control of the probe, after initially involving the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, a move local leaders argue undermines states' participation and transparency in determining what actually happened. The public reaction has been major, with thousands of people taking to the streets in Minneapolis and in demonstrations across the United States in major cities like Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and Seattle, with protesters chanting "No more ICE" and also calling for an end to aggressive federal immigration enforcement. In downtown Minneapolis alone, an estimated 1,000 protesters marched on a hotel where ICE agents were reportedly staying, demanding that the agency withdraw from the city altogether. These demonstrations have at times been met with law enforcement using crowd control measures such as tear gas, pepper spray, and in some cases, physical containment of protesters. This moment has also revitalized political debate across the country. Civil liberty groups and migrant rights advocates are organizing under banners like ICE Out for Good, while some conservatives, especially conservative lawmakers, are condemning the protests and are urging strong support for federal enforcement. Amid the divisive reactions, local public safety measures have also shifted. Minneapolis public schools canceled classes indefinitely for the week, citing safety concerns. Governor Walz has also authorized the Minnesota National Guard to be prepared to assist when necessary. At its core, this incident has thrust the debate over federal law enforcement authority versus local sovereignty back into national spotlight. And it's also raised major concerns about when and how federal agencies operate in cities, as well as how the use of force decisions are evaluated, and whether the public can even trust official narratives when digital evidence clearly shows otherwise. We'll go into more details about these next coming stories, and as the story evolves, we'll continue to update you with both legal inquiries and the grassroots movements that has erupted nationwide when we return. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be back after these messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
Across the nation, education policy is shifting as many school districts move to restrict or ban cell phone use during school hours. These policies aim to reduce distractions, improve focus, classroom focus in particular, and address concerns over online cyberbullying and social media impacts on student mental health. For example, in New York State, Governor Kathy Hochul's office has rolled out an online tool for parents and students to use, which checks district-specific cell phone ban plans and reflects the diversity of approaches from district to district. Students and schools are learning to adapt to these new rules, with some reacting begrudgingly, particularly from teenagers and parents, while some are also welcoming the reduced distraction, and others stating that smartphones remain useful tools for communication and safety. But it's also important to note that these are state and local policies and not a nationwide federal mandate. Some of these states include Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Kentucky, Louisiana, New York, and now New Jersey, as Governor Murphy just signed the cell phone ban in schools in a new legislation signed just 2 days prior on January 8th. In an effort to ensure New Jersey schools are a place for learning and engagement, he said, and not distracting screens that detract from academic performance. He also said that in schools across our state, from Ramsey to Woodbury, we have seen the positive impact of phone-free policies. For more details on the cell phone ban in schools, check out our website, crdn.us.com, and leave us your feedback on the new legislation. Do you feel that this is a right step in the right direction in academic settings, or could this potentially pose a safety risk for students who need to use their phones for emergency and communication purposes? Leave us your thoughts in the comments below. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be right back to these topics after these messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
In New York City, the City Council has elected Julie Menin as its new speaker. This marks an important leadership change in city governance. Menin won an unanimous 51-0 vote and became the first Jewish person to represent a powerful role. She will be presiding over the legislative body, and she will also be responsible for approving budgets, shaping laws, and serving as a check on mayoral authority. Menin brings decades of experience from city regulatory leadership to advocacy on consumer issues. She's also pledged to tackle urgent city challenges, including housing affordability, healthcare costs, and government transparency. Her leadership may also influence local debates around public safety and community protections, including plans to legislate around safe perimeters for houses of worship, amid broader concerns about civic tensions. As Speaker, Menin will steer City Council priorities during a crucial period of civic transition and policy negotiation. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be right back after these messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News. You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News. You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
And in technology and entertainment news, Hulu, one of the best and most well-known streaming services, is entering its final phase. The standalone app is being phased out in early 2026. Starting with the support of its ending on gaming platforms like Nintendo Switch, who will be ending its streaming services on February 5th. The broader strategy is to fully integrate all Hulu content into Disney+, thus simplifying user experience under a single streaming umbrella. That also means that longtime Hulu subscribers will still be able to watch their favorite shows, but just with a Disney Plus account, as Hulu's separate identity is gradually retired across devices. This move also underscores how consolidation is reshaping the streaming industry, leaving fewer standalone apps and more unified platforms. How do you feel about this? Do you think that this will make viewership easier for people to view on one streaming platform? Or did you prefer Hulu being the lone ranger in a sea of multiple different streaming platforms? Leave us your feedback on our site, crdn.us.com, or check out our social media pages on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. With Civil Rights Daily News, we'll be right back.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
And finally, let's turn into the economic landscape of 2026. That's right, folks. Employment data for December 2025 is showing significant slow job growth with only 50,000 new jobs added, which is far below expectations. It's also marking the weakest growth since before the pandemic. But despite the slow pace, ironically, the unemployment rate edged down slightly to about 4.4%. Economists are describing this period as a no hire, no fire period, where labor markets stay relatively stable, but meaningful new hires remain muted. Wage growth persists but may slow, especially if automation and structural shifts reshape demand in key sectors. But on the brighter side, financial markets have shown resilience with major stock indexes hitting new highs as investors price in stronger corporate performance and continued fiscal stimulus. Forecasts for 2026 vary, with some economists anticipating modest GDP growth driven by consumer spending and investment, while others warn that persistent inflation and trade policies could temper expansion. The Congressional Budget Office also offers projects that the Federal Reserve may begin trimming interest rates during 2026, potentially easing credit conditions and supporting growth. But the bottom line is this: the economy is showing mixed signals. On one hand, we have a solid financial market and moderate growth expectations, but on the other hand, we have a rather sluggish job market and persistent inflation pressures. Well, Civil Rights Daily News will keep you updated on these economic changes as we receive these updates. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.
Thank you for tuning in to Civil Rights Daily News, where we provide you with propagandaless reporting only the truth in rotation 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Do you have any comments or you want to leave us any feedback on the topics you've just heard tonight? Feel free to check us out on our website, crdn.us.com, or check out our social media pages on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. With Civil Rights Daily News, I'm Samia Charles. Have a good evening.
You are watching CRDN, Civil Rights Daily News.